Oh, she wrote, say about 6:15.
6:15
I mean,
or
4:15.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Great.
All right. Hakoda Beseda. How did y'all like the breath meditation? Going from the head, going from the, putting it all in one part, then breathing with the body.
Not easy.
Huh?
Not so easy.
Oh, man.
For the first time.
Oh, yeah, really, for the
Yeah.
first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the more practice made perfect, so the more you practice that, but that's a good meditation because that will get you into the feeling state of what we're talking about how the whole body should feel. Because a breatharian is feeling different than the average person, even though they look alike. Serious, it's a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say to some people, you didn't feel that sickness coming on or feel that.
Feel his what coming on?
Feel a sickness coming on, like a stroke or whatever. It don't even need to be that extreme. They should have felt it, you would think. But they're numb to it. Sort of like aspirin makes you numb. So when you're doing these meditations, you are actually wakening up the body again, making it more sensitive. Like a lot of people say they're sensitive, but that's something else. That's not what we're talking about. It's because you cried just because, you know, something happened. I'm sensitive. But the shift of consciousness means a lot being on a pranic journey. That's what we're learning. Or that's what we're opening up. Now the three main religions on the planet is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They have a book to go to it. So that makes it easier. They passed out the pamphlets. So everybody's kind of been indoctrinated within the stories, with anything. Everybody knows Noah's Ark, no matter where you're at. The creation story. Everybody's been indoctrinated. You've been born into it. But there's certain words that's used that throws people off. And we're in an age now where a lot of things are being reinterpreted to make it more down to earth instead of far-fetched. You couldn't touch it before. One of them was the word heaven. Spirituality was hijacked because everybody was paying real estate into this place called heaven. If I'm having a bad time here, I'm going to get my reward somewhere else. So it's sold real good. But now as we are gaining more information and saying, wait a minute now, if I'm living this breatharian life and I'm saying I'm living in heaven now, why do I say that now instead of somewhere else? Because I'm having a good time here. And if I'm having a good time and a lot of fun, no sickness, no pain, no body, why would I want to die and go to another place for it? That won't be a good investment for me. But I can see somebody who's having a bad time here paying into an investment out of desperate to go to another place. Now that word heaven, the Pope one time, not this Pope, he got up and said in the Vatican, he gave a real important speech and said, heaven is not a place. He said heaven is a state of consciousness. That threw a lot of people off. Why? Because you're Protestant, that means everybody who's not the Catholic Church and Christianity, they got mad at him and said, you took a weapon from us. How could that be a weapon? Just some words. Because the Pope, they used it as a weapon by selling that other story that don't have no proof that it exists. So it was a weapon to make them more prosperous and have a certain position. But the Pope said, wait a minute, if it's a state of consciousness, that might be for everybody to have access to it. And you don't need to go nowhere else, and you don't need to make that investment. That's why it was a weapon for somebody, and it could be freedom for somebody else. So me, when I heard that message, it made sense. Because when I tell people I'm living in heaven right now, I'm living in another consciousness, a breatharian consciousness. I don't need to go searching for food. I'm self-sufficient. That's a conscious state. But when you look at the study of these things, what is held in, it must also be a state of consciousness. So I'm crystal clear. I used to live in hell. I was working to the sweat of my brow.
What?
I was working to the sweat of my brow. You remember the sentence of Adam and Eve? Right, when he fell in consciousness, he had to work to the sweat of his brow. And I was working hard out in the world from sun up to sundown. Pharaoh took out the bricks from making the straw, all of that good stuff. My body was hurting, and that's another level of being burnt by the flames. That's what's happening. So I was living in the hell that was created by my thinking. For me to come into this other state of consciousness, I had to make a transformation. This is what we're talking about, being on the pranic path. You're not going to be the same living on prana. Get that out your head right now. If you think you're going to grab this skill and still be living the same way, it's not going to happen. Why? Because why should you? Some people will say, could I still work this job? You'll ask yourself the question one day. Somebody will tell you to do something, you get frustrated. And you say, why would I need to go to work if I don't need no food? You'll do it to yourself. So it ain't going to fit. Oh, man. But the Muslims, they came along with the Quran. They didn't use the word heaven. They used the word hereafter. Now, those who are in esoteric knowledge,
Hereafter?
hereafter.
Okay.
Instead of heaven, they use the word the hereafter. Now, Allah has the place of the hereafter for the just. They'll say scriptures like that. They ain't use the word heaven. But are they talking about something totally different? Not really. Because those who are in esoteric knowledge knows that the three major religions are one book. It's the people who are in duality or ignorant think it's split up. But the major Arcadium of the planet, it has the abilities to take Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, all of them, and put them together and show you the similarity and tell you they talking the same story. All of them talking about the tree, all of them talking about a serpent, all of them talking about a fall of consciousness, and all of them talking about some form of resurrection. Uh-oh. So, if they're talking about that, if you get to a higher degree of knowledge, when I pick up the Torah, the Bible, or the Quran, I see food freedom message. Why do I see it? Because I'm at another state of consciousness. I know what it's talking about. So the Muslims, when they use the word the hereafter, I know that they're talking about heaven, but it's not a place that they tried to get off. It's a state of consciousness. But theirs make a lot more point-blank sense. Let's see what this, why did they use this word? Now, first of all, they used the word for a follower of Islam is called a Muslim. Now look at the word they use. And they'll say that's one who submits. Submit to what? Okay, we can submit. Let's leave the names out of it. They're submitting because, and that's what the Breatharian message is talking about. It's saying that the higher forces don't need to change. The creature has to change. So the creature, which is us, the cosmic energy is already there. We have to figure out on how to become one with the higher energies.
To submit.
To submit.
To submit in Hebrew means להתמסר, and to give yourself to a message.
To give yourself.
Open for receiving a message.
Absolutely. So they're using the right words. So a follower who's going to go with the higher forces and become one with it, self-sustaining, has to submit. Give up the fight. Put up the white flag. Uh-oh. This is heavy now. So they're telling the truth. And then in esoteric knowledge, look at the word Islam. I-S-L-A-M. I, self, Lord, am master. It ain't talking about nobody else. You must make this happen.
Is it yours? You have the copyright for that?
Right. I, self, Lord, am master. To fully submit Because you can make it happen. And then look at the other word they use. Allah. A-L-L-A-H. No offense. Arm, A. L, leg. L, another leg. A, another arm. H, the head. It's you. So everybody's talking the same thing. Christ consciousness, Buddhist consciousness, they all talking about the same consciousness. It's the same book for a person to conceive. It's the masses who's separating themselves due to ignorance. So when they use the word the hereafter, let's see what they're talking about. Now, first of all, the Quran, its main purpose was 3 purposes. Now read that.
The hereafter is one of the main purposes of the Quran.
The hereafter is the main purpose of the Quran. Why would they try to sell it to you if it wasn't going to give you a benefit? The hereafter is the benefit. So that's why the other salesmanship of Christianity and Judaism was promising you a place of heaven. So they're talking the same thing, but let's see if they're talking the same thing. The play on words again. I, self-Lord, my master, I'm submitting to go somewhere. So the main sales pitch is the hereafter. We're going to see what that is. And if it's tangible, let's see, can we touch it? Now, keep reading.
Knowing Allah, the hereafter, and the straight path.
Now listen at it. The 3 main purposes of the Quran is to know Allah. What is the other one? The hereafter.
And the straight
And the straight path. So we figured out who Allah is. Arm, leg, arm, head.
How does that work in Arabic?
We'll talk to them later. So he's operating from here. So that's number 1. It's knowing Allah, knowing thyself. Know thyself is to know God. That's it. That's the major arcanium. The hereafter. We got to find out what that is. And then it says the straight path. That means that there's a lifestyle that goes with somebody who's in God consciousness, who got Christ consciousness, who got the consciousness of Allah. They ain't acting like everybody else. So if you ain't acting like everybody else, you ain't functioning like everybody else. You ain't seeing the same thing everybody else sees. You living in heaven. Why wonder everybody else painting? You eating the food of the angels. Uh-oh.
And it's a path with no hindrances, straight,
It's
open.
a straight path.
Yes.
They say the path is a narrow path, but it's a straight path. Right to the point.
משל?
להסביר את 2 המשפטים האחרונים.
כן, שיניתי לנו.
All right, translate for her. Catch her up.
אז לדעת את Allah, במקרה הזה את המקור, כן, של הכוח ושל הקיום, ו-the hereafter זה מצב הקיומי, האופטימלי ביותר, האלוהי ביותר, שבדרך כלל מתייחסים אליו כמו גן עדן, ואנחנו רוצים להגיד שאנחנו כאן ועכשיו נמצאים בתוך התודעה הזאת של הגן עדן, והדרך הישרה היא סלולה, היא פתוחה, היא ללא מכשולים ועכבות.
Right. So the main purpose of the Quran is to learn yourself, Allah, know the path you're supposed to take, how you're supposed to walk, how you're supposed to talk, all this good stuff, how you're supposed to think. And then the next one is the hereafter. Let's see what that is. Those are 3 essentials. Now,
Okay.
hold on for a second. Now the hereafter, whether if it's a place, location, or consciousness, that's saying it's talking about your destiny. Now we all say I gotta find my life's purpose. You're born into this place. So that means a purpose also has a destiny or where it must go. Now what is a destiny?
Right.
It's your fate.
Right. It's a fate, a predetermined course of events.
It's a predetermined course of events. So I guess they're saying is, if they're correct, if you take a certain path of action, you should go to a predetermined path of events. They automatically should unfold. That's the promise coming from the higher forces. So dealing with the Breatharian path, it just ain't like just believe. Absolutely not. It's a lifestyle. It's a straight course to get fed by the food of heaven. And it's a predetermined course of events that will unfold so you can make connection to be Allah.
אירועים צפויים מראש שהתרחשו על מנת לתמוך, ללכת בדרך הזאת. It may be conceived as a predetermined future.
And it may be perceived as a predetermined future. The future's already cut out. It's predetermined. That's why even in the Kabbalah, they say you don't have a choice. Choice is an illusion of ignorance. You just don't know what's going on. That's why you think you're making a choice. Everything is predetermined.
Okay, so...
and notice that the Kabbalah had to tell you that.
So we don't have choice?
You don't have choice. Already fixed fight.
Just how we react to or accept or submit.
Right. It ain't about believing it now. The more you come into the study of this, the more you will come into the self-realization to see it yourself. Your life had a pathway for where you at now, and you have a predetermined manifest destiny or where you headed. That's why a person who's living a certain frequency, surely they're going to die on that frequency. Surely. You're not getting out of it. You must change frequencies to get off of that predetermined manifest destiny.
Okay. But that's a choice.
If you want to call it that. A predetermined one. All right.
את צריכה להסבר שהדרך כבר נקבעה מראש, אוקיי? וזו בחירה שלנו איך אנחנו מגיבים לזה, או אם אנחנו בוחרים לקבל את זה, או לא לקבל את זה. את הנתיב הסלול, שהוא כבר סלול, מכיוון שאנחנו כבר שמים את הכוונות שלנו שם.
So in the higher levels of religion, they tell you the truth, but we got to discern these words. They're telling you about this path, but people are having trouble seeing it. But they saying this path is guaranteed of a predetermined manifest destiny of a course of events that will lead you into heaven or lead you into the hereafter. Let's see what it is.
Okay, what's this word?
Weather.
Weather in general, a predetermined future, whether in general, or of an individual.
So it's a predetermined future, whether if you are an individual or in general, meaning it's the collective. Now let's look at the collective human family. Yes, the light is winning right now. Even McDonald's is giving off a bacon sandwich. They just didn't think that because they love everybody. No, the light is moving everything. Everybody's getting, more knowledge on lightening up the diet. There's more fruitarians than ever before. There's more people backing up from the table. And there's more people learning about living on prana, food freedom. It's not going to stop. They're manifesting in front of you more and more with the God consciousness. Whether if you call it the Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, or Allah in the flesh. Walking. One merged with the higher frequency vibration. We're taking the spookiness out of this now. So we ain't planning on dying and going nowhere else. The physical body must merge with the light inside of you. It must resurrect or wake up. All right. Now here we go. We did that.
Yeah.
Now we're going into the hereafter. Listen what they say it is.
Hereafter, from now on.
For now on. Now keep in mind, as you grow, growth comes in levels and degrees. Enlightenment, you go from an enlightenment to enlightenment to an enlightenment. Don't expect to go from a baby spiritual, to a spiritual giant. You're going to have different levels of enlightenment on the way. So the hereafter, and even in the scriptures, they talk about the different levels of heaven. Why is that? You grow into different levels of heaven. This level, practitioner first comes in. You see certain benefits. That's why you're doing it. You stay in to go to another degree. Other benefits come into play. So everything works that way. So the hereafter means, go ahead, read that one more time.
From now on.
From now on. That's where you make it, you submit. Remember the word for Muslim? One who submits.
Yeah.
So you're making a declaration in order to go into the hereafter, you're saying from now on. Read the other one.
מעכשיו והלאה. אני אהיה מחוברת לתודעה.
Which is every moment.
Right.
It's now, it's
From now on, from this moment forward, I'm about to do something different. Somebody's making a change. This is why they're submitting. This is why it's making them a Muslim. So he said, from now on. Now read the other definition.
Life after death.
Now, not after this first.
Oh, I said, so 1, 2.
Oh, my fault.
Okay.
Okay, I'm all hyped up.
Life after death.
Life after death. You're going to get a life after you was dead. See, when I came onto the journey, remember I gave you my story? I was in bad shape. Overweight, high blood pressure, hurting. I was dead. I was walking around, but I was dead in consciousness. Eating animals, eating anything, talking any old way. Now I'm walking around talking about I'm living in heaven. Food free, no aches and pains in the body. I went from life into death. I'm in the hereafter. So not only I can talk and say I'm living in heaven, I'm in the hereafter right now. It's life after death.
From now on after this.
For now on after this. See? Listen at that definition. From now on after this. That's how you get in the hereafter. You have to make a declaration that you got tired of your last life. Tired of the last vibration. So you're basically saying, from now on after this. Read on.
As of now, from this day on.
As of for now, from this day on.
From this time on.
From this time on.
From this moment.
From this moment. That's somebody who got tired, ain't it?
This moment forth.
From this moment forward. See, when you make that declaration and you serious, you're going into the hereafter automatically.
Subsequently.
Subsequently.
Future.
It's the future. You're creating your future through, right, what's happening right now, how you live in your life. That's the declaration you're giving off. Keep reading.
Henceforth.
Henceforth.
Life after death.
Life after death. They got to tell you again.
Suffering is a part of our preparation for the hereafter.
Now they say suffering. Now listen how they say it. Suffering is a preparation for you to go into hereafter. You won't think about the hereafter if you didn't suffer. Why become a Muslim or submit if you wasn't suffering? That don't even make sense. You surrendered because you were suffering. You figured it out. If I'm suffering, I want to go to the hereafter now.
I'd better surrender anyway because I'm suffering.
Well, I got to surrender anyway.
Yeah.
I'm suffering. If I don't do it, it's going to make me surrender, and that's what we call death. Life is going to lay you down. The light is going to leave. You're going to lose anyway. All right.
Afterlife.
It's the afterlife.
The life to come.
The life to come.
The afterworld.
The afterworld.
The next world.
The next world. So the Muslims are saying the same thing. They just use the word the hereafter. But first, to make it into the hereafter, you have to be positively crystal clear that you're tired of the lower vibration. And from this day forward, henceforth, without no subsequent challenge, I'm going that direction.
Tired of the low vibration.
Tired of it.
Tired.
You know what's going to give you.
Yes. The beyond, immortality.
Now, they got immortality there. Beyond immortality. When you live in heaven, when you live in the hereafter, you start talking immortality. Humans can't see it. They living in hell. They don't see immortality. Why would you want to live forever living in hell?
Right.
Right. That's why that's under their message.
Eternity.
Eternity.
Heaven.
Heaven.
And paradise.
Now they telling you it's heaven. The hereafter is heaven, and it's also paradise. Now, always sing that song if y'all been around me. We're in paradise. Paradise. We sing it on the beach. Right. Why do we sing that song? Because we all living in paradise. What is paradise?
It's our motto.
That's our motto, ain't it? We sing it all the time. We sing it because we're happy. Now read the definition of paradise.
Okay, so before that we have what happens after death.
What happens after death? Now a lot of people want to figure it out. That's how they sold that last doctrine and everybody played that real estate up in the sky. You know, to leave your physical body, go into the sky. We ain't talking that now. We don't need to. We got enough information now to bring heaven to us and manifest. We mean this. So paradise.
Paradise, heaven as the ultimate abode for the just.
Now heaven is the ultimate abode for the just.
The ultimate what?
Abode.
המשכן האופטימלי בשביל הצדיקים.
So in order to get a heavenly consciousness, that's like a reward. The ultimate reward for the just. And when you think of heaven, people don't get sick. You're happy. You're fulfilled. That's what it is. It's a feeling state. It ain't about dying or nowhere else. When you died, you lost. You already gave up the physical body. You're out of here. That's why they sold you all those doctrines. They didn't tell you got another chance. People running around. I've been here 15 times. Why you need to be here 15 times for? That means you love this place. You ain't figured it out yet? This is my first time here. It shouldn't take that long to figure out. That's why they sold them reincarnation. Yeah, I'm talking against it. Because they only gave it to the poor. They only gave that doctrine to the ignorant. The elite don't believe that. That's why we know it's the truth.
The incarnation they don't?
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation?
It's only given to poor people, which means ignorant.
So it's our first time?
Right, so it made you accept. It's your first time here. You don't know nothing about death. Serious. You got to kill yourself. Right, people got good at it. That's still killing themselves. Now let's read.
הוא אומר שהמושג של הגלגול נשמות זה מושג שניתן בשביל איכשהו להשביע את הציבור של העניים, של הסובלים, כדי להצדיק את הסבל שלהם. אבל למעשה הקיום הוא תודעה של קיום נצחי ושל תודעת גן עדן.
Right.
שהמושג הזה של הגלגול הוא פשוט בשביל להצדיק את הסבל שחוזר על עצמו עוד פעם ועוד פעם ועוד פעם.
שאנחנו בעצם נצחיים.
כן.
שזה...
So that don't even make sense. If you're alive in the flesh or the word became flesh or the Christ consciousness, death ain't even in your vocabulary. That's a frequency, a vibration. Yeah, it exists, but it exists for people who are unjust. Heaven is for the people who are just.
I think we should need a definition of what is just also.
Yeah, I got it too. I'm glad you brought that up.
Good, great.
All right, where I got that at? We need a definition for what's just.
Yes, in these times also.
All right, I know it at the top of my head.
All right.
All right.
שלום, ברוכה הבאה.
So that, oh, we here. The just, they use, okay, they got a word called righteousness. And then they got a code that we use. And that's basically being in righteous cycles, the right cycles. So when you deal with nature, nature works with set times and cycles. There's a time to sleep, time to wake up. There's a time for this fluid to come. So the average person is harming themselves because they are biologically illiterate. They don't know their relationship to nature.
האדם הרגיל גורם לעצמו נזק בגלל שהוא לא מחובר למחזוריות הטבעית קודם כל של הטבע ושל החיים כאן.
So a righteous person is a person who allows themselves to go back into righteous cycles. In other words, don't eat at night. That's where the digestive system slows itself down. Just don't eat. Well, I like to eat at night. It ain't no argument. You out of the righteous cycles. So when you do feel a pain or a sickness or an energy blockage in the future, you did that from becoming out of tune with nature due to ignorance.
אדם שהולך בדרך הנכונה, יותר נכון להגיד שזה הפירוש של נכון, הדרך הנכונה, הוא מחובר למחזוריות של הטבע, למחזוריות של הגוף, לזמני אכילה מתאימים, מה לעשות ביום, מה לעשות בלילה, ואז הוא נמצא בדרך נכונה.
So your body is a master at knowing what the cycles is. It's already consecrated. It's hooked up with the cycles already. The person is just getting in the way of it. So when you get out of your way, that's why a Muslim is called a Muslim. They submitted to get out of their own way. Because you're Allah. They got out of Allah's way, which is you. So that you can resurrect. The light is in you already, and it is into development. It is into growing, and it will always seek to go back home. So it's going to take the physical body with it when you allow it to. When you don't, it's going to keep the physical body here because it was born here, and it's going back home because you will not support it. You did not get a light, no support, so it left the house. So the physical body, which was born here, it's going to stay here.
אז התמיכה בגוף הפיזי, ההליכה בדרך הנכונה וההליכה ביחד עם האור.
You can set up there. You can set it up. We'll help you. Almost done. Just wrapping up. So that's what we was teaching earlier about. You got the war of these two bodies. The physical body needs physical food. It was born of the earth. It's terrestrial. Nobody's arguing that. But the light that's in you feeds off of light. It feeds off the food from heaven, cosmic energy. It's not from here. They must merge in order for you to continue. But if you don't give it no support down here, it's going back home, and that's what we call death. Because you did not get the light, no support, you basically kicked it out. So health, what is health? Health is just you going into righteous cycles so that the light will stay. It's a lifestyle that makes it stay. That's when you receive health, longevity, and you're living in heaven. No problems. Everything in tune. Your health is on. No aches and pains. You continue. You regenerate by nature.
האור והבריאות נשארים איתנו כשאנחנו מחוברים למחזוריות של הטבע, והאור כמובן שנמצא במחזוריות.
You don't need to eat food like other animals because you have allowed the light in you to grow to what? Sustain the physical body. It's bigger than the physical body. The physical body is just a small portion of who you are. Did I say
הגוף
that?
הפיזי זה רק חלקיק קטן מהגוף האור וממה שאנחנו באמת.
Now listen at that word paradise. Keep reading.
Okay. Confirming to standard?
Conforming to a standard.
To a standard.
Oh, that's the word for just. All right, that's the
Okay.
definition. I did write it down. Now listen what just is. Heaven or the hereafter is a place for the just. Read it.
Okay, conforming to a standard.
It's a person who's conforming to a standard or
correctness.
correctness. They corrected their life. Going back to the Kabbalah, it's talking the same thing. The higher forces is doing their job. The cosmic energy is given to everybody. But the creature must figure it out to make the changes, to conform, and to make corrections to itself so you can receive more of the light.
שהיצור הפיזי הוא צריך לעשות את ההתעדכנות, את התיקונים הנדרשים על מנת להתחבר לתדר הזה של האור, לתדר גם של מחזורי הטבע, ולא לעמוד בדרך של עצמו.
It's making sense now on what we got to do. So living on prana just ain't putting tape on your mouth. Living on prana is a byproduct. Don't even think about food freedom. It's a byproduct of you living a righteous lifestyle. A holistic lifestyle.
חיים בדרך הנכונה.
Will you make it into heaven when you crossed over? All right, keep reading.
Morally upright
It's
and good.
It's a morally upright and good person. Now, let's read what the Buddhists are saying. They use a word called nirvana. They're talking the same thing. Heaven, the hereafter, or you achieve nirvana. Read nirvana down here.
Nirvana, a transcendental state in which there is never suffering.
A transcendental state where there is never suffering. Now that word transcendental, they got a meditation called transcendental meditation and stuff.
Yeah.
What they're saying is, the human being, what makes us different than animals, that you can transcend physical matter because you can identify with universal laws that seems invisible. Other animals ain't got that. You can tell what universe. That's why we make physics. That's where that come from. Those are laws you can't see. Gravity. What is that? Mm-hmm. You are smart enough to figure that out. Your body's into gravity. When you do yoga, there's a yoga science to it. To cleave you, get you back to union with the higher forces. That's what they all talking about. All right, nirvana. It's a transitional state
in which there is neither suffering, desire, nor sense of self.
Where there's neither suffering. Now, why suffering leave? I was suffering when I was overweight. When I had high blood pressure, I walked up the step, I was out of breath. I was suffering. When I went into nirvana, I could walk up the steps now. I'm not suffering. I'm already in nirvana. You ain't got to go get high and smoke a joint. Read.
No sense of self.
No sense of self.
And the subject is released from the effects of karma.
Now listen how they said no sense of self. You only think about your leg is when it's hurting. You only think about your shoulder when it's hurting. When it's not hurting, you don't even know it's there.
So the pain gives the sense of self.
So the pain gives a sense of self. You're hurting because you're trying to be somebody. You need to become a nobody. Right. Then you hit nirvana. Then you hit the hereafter. Then you into heaven.
Released from the effects of karma and the cycle of death and rebirth.
And they said you're out of the cycle of death and rebirth. Listen at that. Reread it again, dealing with karma.
All right.
You're released from the effects of karma.
From the effects of karma.
Karma means actions. In other words, you keep eating an apple pie over and over and over again. That's karma.
Action and cause.
And cause. So you're going to be released from that. You stay on this path, you'll be released from that. Because you're going for the light now. The light don't need to eat the cake over and over again. Keep reading.
The cycle of death and rebirth.
So you're out of the cycle of death and rebirth. What is rebirth? You remember we was talking yesterday, you keep having a spiritual abortion? A person keeps starting and stopping. Now you're out of the cycle of rebirth because now you know to stay on the path until you reach the destination of heaven or the hereafter. That's the cycle. The cycle ain't got nothing to do with you happened 200 years ago. That was somebody else. That wasn't you. Did I say that? Yes, I did.
And that nirvana is the final goal.
And nirvana is the final goal. Your goal in this life should be to hit nirvana, where you relieve suffering and you resurrected to another level of thought that changes your whole physical reality. Where you have transcended physical matter. This is an illusion. If this is causing you problems, you still trapped in physical matter. That's how we know. Chasing it. Trying to live off of it. Like it's going to make you happy. That ain't got nothing to do with the light.
And freed from suffering consciously.
And freed from conscious suffering.
Okay.
This is easy. This goes off of your mind. All you got to do is think and manifest it. What were we talking about? You Allah, remember?
אז אנחנו משתחררים מהמעגל הזה של הסיבתיות של לעשות משהו ואז נגרמת תוצאה וכל הזמן יש את הכבולים לתוך המעגל הזה של הלידה והמוות מחדש. אנחנו משתחררים מהכבלים האלה ואז התודעה נמצאת במצב של נירוונה, של חופש. חופש מסבל, חופש מפעולות, שנייה, פעולות שאנחנו עושים שגורמים לנו סבל, כמו למשל חוסר תשומת לב לאכילה שגורמת נזק פיזי. גרמנו לעצמנו סבל, אנחנו יכולים לגרום לעצמנו סבל בכל מיני דרכים, בצורת חשיבה, צורת התנהגות, אז זה מתנקה, אנחנו משתחררים מזה ונכנסים למצב תודעתי של נירוונה שהוא משוחרר.
Right, so nirvana, like we said, we're in nirvana right now, we're already high. You are high when you live in a good life. See, this life, you should be in awe of it.
זה גורם לנו להתעלות, הדרך חיים הזאת, ההמתה באכילה, הכלילות, התנועה, כל היסודות שאמרנו של הדרך חיים ההוליסטית.
This is wonderful. majestic.
לחיות בפליאה, במצב
How
תודעתי
can
של
you hate
פליאה.
this? That means you can't see. And then you say you've been here time and time again. You'll be tired of it if that happened. I'm in awe. This is my first time here and I love it. In order for me to enjoy this even more, I have to do something to get a delight, a reason to stay here and not to leave me.
כמו שאנחנו נולדנו, פעם ראשונה אנחנו רואים את כל הבריאה הזאת ואנחנו חיים בפליאה, בתדר של פליאה, וחשוב שאנחנו נעשה משהו כדי באמת שהאור הזה יישאר איתנו וניישם את התדר הזה, נטמיע אותו, נחבור אליו.
So I hope this brought everything together. We had to get that off our chest so you can know what the hereafter for. But first you have to make a declaration. The stuff we just learned, sometimes you got to go home and say, from this day forward.
Yeah, and look at the light in the
screen.
Yes, it's full of light. The light just came to the teaching.
Because we're in Nirvana.
Visually.
We're in heaven. We're in the hereafter. All right, talk to y'all soon. Namaste.